Okay, guys, so there are people in the stream. I didn't see anybody in the stream at all. That's why I was redoing the 30 countdown. Hey DJ, hey Jeff. I don't know why I'm not seeing I've seen your comments now, but I wasn't seeing them originally. So yeah, thanks guys. So you are both there. Are you both still there now? Just let me know in the comments, because StreamYard is just a complete shit show for me. I don't understand StreamYard at all. I started the stream, you were nowhere to be seen, but all of a sudden your comments popped up. So let me know, guys, because if you're in the stream, it's all good. I'll just crack on. So see, post 12:05 at 12. Yeah, you must. Yeah, I'm guessing you. And am I coming through loud and clear as well? I've seen this even with like massive YouTubers. They have an issue with StreamYard that when at the beginning of the live stream, they're not quite sure whether anyone's actually watching what they're doing. So, DJ Jeff, please comment if you're seeing this. Nothing yet. It's starting to look a bit. And now it's saying no viewers. Okay. Not quite sure what's going on. Oh, DJ's in the chat. So DJ, you can hear me then. DJ, you can hear. You've just heard everything I've just said, because it's saying there's nobody watching, but you have just popped up. So I'm guessing, yeah, okay. So we are live. It is working. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, the first 5 minutes, it's always a bit of a disaster sometimes, especially when I do these live streams. These Friday night live streams, a bit random. There's no set subject to them, and I don't know if I'm going to get the same traffic that I get for the live stream commentaries, because obviously, yeah. Oh, sorry, I can hear you say that. Yeah. Yes, I don't know whether it's StreamYard or whether it's whatever. I came live, nobody's in the chat, but then all of a sudden I see chat, and it's almost as if like they don't know that I've actually come live. So yeah, it's my name's Jeff. Okay, we're good. It's all good. StreamYard does not like me. It does not like me. My setup is very, very basic. So when I do a live stream, it's just a pair of old headphones and a laptop. And I did Piz's live stream a couple of weeks ago, and I probably told this story the other week, but came off my live stream, went to Piz's live stream, no issues, perfect, audio's fine. Following week, same setup, done a live stream, went onto Lorne's community chat. I'm echoing everywhere. It's just echoing. And I'm like, but this is the same setup I had for Piz's stream, so what the fuck? So is it me? Is it StreamYard? I don't know. But yeah, StreamYard is what it is. But anyway, we've got Jess in the chat. What's up, Jess? Sean, obviously Sean, the legend that is Sean. We've got DJ, and then we've got Jeff as well. So yeah, let's just get on with it and crack on. This is going to be becoming like a regular thing now. Tuesday nights is going to kind of be, live stream commentaries, working my way through the Halloween franchise. It's 4 on Tuesday. I've done the first 3. 5, 6. We'll do H2O. Resurrection. maybe, I don't know, possibly at a push. It'll end there. And what I probably will do is I'll probably do 2018, some point in October, just before Halloween Kills drops. Just, because I need to see that film again. I've only seen that film twice. Once or maybe twice. Can't remember. But I need to revisit that film to just get myself, ready for the sequel. But I'm not going to be doing the Rob Zombie ones. No, maybe not Resurrection either, because I don't care for it. So you get the supposed to sign lol. Thoughts on his son's passing? Well, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, apparently he was a really loved sort of guy. I mean, I don't really know too much about Richard Donner. Obviously, he's a legend, in the field, but apparently he was really well loved, and that's probably a rarity, when you look at this, looking back now at some of the people who are in the movie making industry, Richard Donner could have easily been a Harvey Weinstein, but he wasn't. So I think that's the most we can ask of these people. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're in the movie making industry, just try not to be horrible rapist, misogynist, swat. Is that the most we can ask of these people? Because it seems like it's just such a fucked up industry in general, Hollywood. I wouldn't want to be a part of it. And if someone like Richard Donner can come through it, maybe he came at a time when it was a more innocent time. Maybe a less innocent time. I don't know. But if you can come through that and have people saying lots of positive things about him, then I'd like to think he was a good guy. I'm pessimistic about anyone in Hollywood. I'm so pessimistic about Hollywood in general, and I just feel that everybody in that system is somehow corrupted. But he may have been a good guy, so hopefully. Sadly, he seems to have lived a good long life. Well, he was 91, so yeah. I mean, you can't really last more than that, can you? I mean, living a life where you get to make movies, living a Hollywood dream, and he lived to 91. I mean, I always think of someone like Kurt Russell. I mean, could you have had a better existence than that? Okay, he grew up in poverty in New York, but from the age of his early 20s, he became a film star, I think. Lives till he's 102, is he 103? In just life of luxury. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. And living in the golden age of Hollywood as well. Because I'd be amazed if the next 100 years of Hollywood is going to be as good as the last 100 years. I'd be astonished. I'd rather jump in bed nails and watch some. Yeah, well, I mean, it does have a fan base among some people. I mean, I'm not a bit. I like Devil's Rejects, and I like House of a Thousand Corpses, but Halloween 1 and 2, no. I mean, I'm sure some people do like those two films, but not for me. I can't forgive Rob Zombie for putting Michael just wandering around in a mask with it's like half torn off, so you can just see his face. I mean, we're not really meant to. I don't mind seeing Michael's face briefly in the original films, but not just openly the way it is in the second, in his, two films. People original and they did, yeah. And I love The Omen as well. The Omen is one of the greatest horror films of the 70s. Halloween 5, 6 Went West. Well, I think 6 is a better film, but I think 5 has the better ending. I mean, 5 is not a good film, but I don't mind the ending too much. But yeah, 6 is a better film, but I don't like the ending. And I don't like Paul Rudd in 6 either. He's just, yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, bring him back, because he's a big star now. Bring him back, and we might be getting, get some extra sort of money towards the Halloween franchise. But yeah, I prefer the ending of 5, but I prefer 6 as a film. When young Michael put this in. Well, to be honest, I didn't like young Michael in the first zombie film anyway. I don't really understand. Well, I just don't like anything about the first. I don't like the white trash angle. You're justifying, you're not justifying his behaviour in following films, but by making him white trash, you're just making him like a regular human being, and he was never that. In the original film, he was middle class kid who had a good upbringing, who just like that just snapped for no reason. We don't know why. He just snapped, and he became this force of evil. In the zombie films, which are far more realistic, because they are more realistic, because kids don't just become evil for no reason. But this is cinema, and we prefer, fantasy. So when Zombie makes these, social commentaries with a kid who's like had a bad upbringing and becomes evil, it's more realistic, but it's less chilling. Nobody really. We don't care about that, do we? We want to see Michael as a cold-blooded killer. We don't want to see Michael as some sort of messed up kid who got abused by his parents. We just want to see someone who just changed for no reason. I'm just going to go back slightly because I'm going to show. It's not working. Jamie, hello, Jamie. Jamie's in the chat. Nice to see you, Jamie. Has anybody else made any comments? Apologies for the pauses. I'm trying to find where the chat was. I'm totally lost now. I'm such a boomer. I'm trying to get to Jamie's. Oh, sorry, Sean's comments. And became a kid because one of the spy kids made fun of his mom. Yeah, exactly. It is ridiculous that the whole scenario for Halloween and Halloween 2 with the zombie films. It is ridiculous. It's not scary. It's just. I mean, I'm not like a prude, but it's kind of like vulgar, which I don't mind in a scenario where I expect to see that, but I don't want to see that in a Halloween film. I love some Halloween. Oh, Jamie likes Zombie Halloween. I didn't see him go bad. I liked it. Well, yeah, I understand your point there, Jamie, but having Michael not go bad, well, that would have been a pretty boring film. But yeah, I understand what you mean there, because it's kind of like you almost want him to. When you watch the film, you can see there's goodness in him, but that just gets sort of driven out him by his fucked up parents and his upbringing. But again, that's an issue with that film. It's like do we really want to see Michael's upbringing justified? We just want this evil being who we can't explain why he is like he is. So hang on. So I started off. I did have some notes for tonight's stream, because I did have points to make, and I did actually write them down, and I've forgotten where did I put them. So okay, start off. Quiet Place 2. So who's seen A Quiet Place 2 in the chat? Now it didn't come out the other day, so if nobody's seen it, I'm going to be talking to myself now, because I liked it, but I thought the original was a better film. Now I know a lot of people are saying that the second one they think is a better film. Now I might just try and make my argument to why I saw. So Sean saw it. So Sean, did you like it? Did you? Well, I think most people like it, but did you think it was better film? Because most people seem to be of the opinion that it's a really good film, but it's lacking maybe some of the tightness of the original, which is the way I'm thinking. So I'm curious to know if anyone else has seen the second film. It did only come out, I think, on cinema, a few days ago, or like last week, so maybe not. But there's been a lot of really, really solid reviews around it, and personally, I like it, but I do believe that it lacks some of the tightness of the thing that there's going to be spoilers as well, by the way. But if you've seen the first film, it's not really spoilers. So, because John Krasinski dies in the first film, obviously in the first film, he's obviously he's the husband of Emily Blunt. Now, plus the fact that they're married in real life, so there's scenes in that film which give a real sort of like proper emotive honesty. I'm trying to use big words now, but like if anyone's seen the first film, there's a scene where Emily Blunt is listening to headphones, and she gives the headphones to John Krasinski, and it's Neil Young, it's Harvest Moon, which is a great tune, and they just have a little dance, and she's pregnant by this point, and they look into each other's eyes, and there's just a real emotion that you can't replicate. Well, you certainly can't replicate it in the sequel, because in this film they're a married couple and they are married in real life. And it just offers such a real it's a resonance you can't replicate in the sequel, and it's just one scene, but throughout that film, because they are just a tight family unit, it's a husband and wife with 2 children, it means something. And with the sequel, because John Krasinski's character has been killed, obviously, it's Emily Blunt with the 2 kids and the baby. And obviously they meet Cillian Murphy's character, but you just totally, you're not really, the dynamic doesn't resonate with you as much as the first film. So even though it is a decent film, in my opinion, for me, there's too many monsters, and they're all the same. So it's beginning to get a bit boring now. Like the monsters, which were kept to a minimum in the first film, they're now on full display now. I mean, you see them like all the time, and you saw them to a point in the first film, but I still think they were kept back a bit. In this film, it's just constant, and because they all look exactly. I mean, of course, they look the same. They're from the same planet, so why wouldn't they look the same? But they're getting a bit repetitive now, and I just think it's getting a bit. I think it needs to move beyond the boundaries of this self-contained setting, which is probably contained to like maybe 20 square miles of like land somewhere in the States, around a small town. And I think this is where they really need now. If they're going to make a sequel, it's pretty. I'm assuming they will. So I think with a sequel, they're going to have to go. Maybe look at the way the Purge, the way they started off. I mean, that's now like a 4 or 5 film franchise now. It's gotten a lot bigger than what it was. That started off with one family in one house in one setting, with a threat from coming from the outside, which is very much like the Purge. But as with each film, it's gone bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's expanded and expanded and expanded. I think for A Quiet Place to really do that, to do this justice now, they really need to just expand it. And maybe, they don't even have to like keep going, since they could just go straight back to day one, as they describe it in The Quiet Place, and maybe just go to the Oval Office, go to the White House, and just see what happens with their reaction to it, because obviously this happened somewhere out in the sticks somewhere. But I think in the beginning of the second film, there's talk on the radio that something's happened anyway. So something's happened somewhere else. But obviously this takes over, if not the country, then the entire planet. So go the way of the Purge and make A Quiet Place a bit similar to that, where it's just, it can go in so many different directions. You could go to New York, LA, you could go to another part of the world completely. The opportunities are endless for this franchise. And as I say, you know, if anyone thinks, well, it reached its peak with A Quiet Place, well, I would say, even though I think A Quiet Place 1 is better than 2, look at The Purge. Most people don't regard the Purge as the best of the Purge films. Most people go for one of the sequels, and The Purge was the original in a self-contained small setting. So A Quiet Place could gain that sort of traction where, you know, it becomes like this massive franchise. The Purge has got another film coming out, I think this year or next year, which would be like the 5th or 6th film. So it's definitely worth, you know, sticking with. I mean, I think they probably will. I mean, if box office is good, and with COVID, I don't know how that's going to work, because with COVID at the minute, who knows what they're going to do. I mean, Black Widow is on streaming now, and I was going to move into Black Widow as a topic as well, but Black Widow is on streaming now. It's also on the cinema. So how's that working for Disney? You know, is Black Widow going to make big money for them on the cinema, or is it going to make more money for them on streaming? I don't know, but I'm completely missing on the chat now because I went out on a complete rant. It felt like Michael Myers again. It did, but it felt more like Michael Myers, for me, Sean, it felt more like Michael Myers from Halloween 2 through to 6. It didn't feel like the Michael Myers of 1978, who it's meant to be, really, because it's meant to be the Michael Myers of 1978. So, I mean, how, you know, it is what, I don't know. It didn't feel like the original Michael Myers. It felt more like a, you know, insane, psychopathic Michael Myers who just goes on a rampage. But I'm still looking forward to the new film. Oh, I think I've done that one. I didn't play anything. She's a very good actress, Emily Blunt. I will say, I do like her. She's very believable in anything she plays. What type of treatments or tests do you think they gave to make when he was in the asylum? I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm no expert on what happens, you know, in asylums. They probably would have sent in a psychiatrist at some point to try and ask him questions, but obviously there would have been a blank wall. Maybe they would have tried to inject him with some crazy shit. I honestly, you're asking the wrong person, TJ. You really are. I don't think you can do anything, Michael. He's just completely fucked. I think that should be a case in point. A flashback in the new film. Injecting Michael with all sorts of psychopathic drugs, anything, you name it, and he doesn't even change. And they're like, this guy is fucked up. Sequel originals, aside a few, of course. Well, yeah. I mean, I still say Terminator 2 is better than Terminator 1. I think Aliens is better than Alien. In terms of, I mean, in terms of remakes, because I think The Thing is better than The Thing from Another World, but it's not a remake. It's not a sequel. It's a remake. But yeah, and I think it kind of comes down to when you watch these films. So I saw Terminator 2 before Terminator 1, and I like Terminator 2 better. Now, I love Terminator 1. I love that film so much, but I still prefer Terminator 2, and maybe that's because I saw it first. The same with Aliens. I saw Aliens before Alien, and I like Aliens more than Alien. But I think there's more of a case for Aliens over Alien than Terminator 2 and Terminator 1. I think a lot of people, regardless whether they saw Alien first, I think a lot of people still like Aliens more. I mean, Aliens for me is one of the greatest films of all time, and Terminator 2, and Terminator 1, and Alien. I can't see Sean's comments for some reason. I think it will be a trilogy. What do you think will be a trilogy, Sean? Because Halloween's going to be a trilogy. We know that. Are you talking about Halloween or something else? I got bored with the pace after the second one. Well, if you give it a chance, because I think there's like 4 now, and I actually think the second is the best film. So actually, I haven't said that, Jamie. If you got bored after the second one, then maybe don't carry on, because I thought the second was the best one, and I think that the ones after that followed the second one more than they do the original. None of the films are like the original. They are more in a larger world. But I'm not a big fan of the first one. But if you like the first one, then you probably won't like. Yeah, you won't be a big fan of the sequels, probably. I am missing so much chat. Jesus Christ. Sorry, chat. I freaking hell. I was first one, Jamie. Yes. Well, DJ, I mean, the thing is, the Friday the 13th sequels, most people would agree that the Friday the 13th, the original, is not the best film. That's pretty much a common sort of consensus amongst the fans. If you ask most fans, if you ask anyone now in chat, put your favourite Friday the 13th film, I'll say 4. I'll guarantee someone will probably say 6. Someone else will say 4, maybe 3. I'd be amazed if anyone says 1. Nobody. 1 is like the first film is like everybody's like 4th or 5th favorite film. People usually go 4, 6, 6, 4, 3, 4, 6, 3, 2. It's very rarely, the first film features in the top 4 favorite films. And like I said, I think I've done my I think top ranking for the Friday the 13th films, and yeah, it's for me. I think it's 4, 6, 3. I think I went 2, maybe 1. I can't quite remember, but it's definitely 4 and 6 and 3 are my top 3 films. I do love. I love 4, 6, and 3. Agree, DJ. Well, yeah, I think. Yeah, like 3 and 6. Well, there you go. Yeah, exactly. So 3 and 6, 2 of my favourite 3, and 4 as well. So, and Jamie, the first 2 are equal eyes. Ooh, controversial, Jamie. I love 1. I do love 1, and I love 2. But for me, because of the lack of Jason in 1, I just can't put it in my very top tier. And I do love 2 as well. I mean, I've said this in a previous live stream. I love 2. I love that sneaky, that sack of Jason just skulking around. He's remote and totally different to his, part 3 and onwards. Even in part 3, when he's not, even though he knows he's not a zombie, he's still very robotic. Like he walks very sort of stiffly. In 2, he's still very much a human, and he's more like normal humans. So he's probably about like 5 or 10 in that film. He looks very, normal size compared to later films. Well, yes. Yeah, you are right, DJ. Although I did actually like the last film, Dark Fate. I don't think it was that bad. I actually quite enjoyed it. Far more than Genesis and far more than Part 3 or Salvation. I would say in terms of like very, very quick tier ranking for Terminator, 2, 1, Dark Fate, Genesis, Salvation, 3. 3 is awful film. Ben Grimm? Ben Grimm? Evil Dead 2 of the franchise. I think you're trolling me, Ben. we were talking about Evil Dead, were we? But good to see you on board, man. I'm not the biggest Evil Dead fan, Ben. I like the original film. Not a fan of Army of Darkness. Evil Dead 2 is kind of very similar to 1, and I've not seen the remake, so yeah, I'm not the biggest Evil Dead expert. If it's part 2, it would be probably my fourth favourite. 4 is my favourite. Bell, Ben. Here, you brother. 4 is my favourite as well. Jamie, 2, 1, 4, 6, 3. It's so I can't even take that in. There's so many Friday the 13th films. My brain's melting. 2, 1, 4. So 4 and 6. Yeah, well, 4 and 6 are my 1 and 2. 3 is my 3, and 2 is my 4. So we're on sort of similar level there, Jamie. Definitely. I see the first 2 as equal, but I'd put 2 in the first book. Well, Ginny, she is probably arguably the best final girl in slasher franchise history. That's kind of like sort of as a given, isn't it? You know, because Laurie was Halloween's a great film, but Laurie's not really. What does she do? Not much. She does even less in Halloween 2. Nightmare on Elm Street. What does Heather Langenkamp do? She's not really doesn't really do that much. She's not really a fighter. So Ginny is kind of like the perfect final girl. Ben Nelson, I'll see you go Ben Nelson. Okay. Is that in it? Yeah. Oh well. Well, you know, horror films can have positive impacts then. They always get a bad rap, but you know, if they can do something like that, then that's great. So hang on. So I was talking about Quiet Place, right? So next subject. Now, not horror, Black Widow. Black Widow dropped today on streaming. It's been on the cinema for a week, I think. A week or two. Is Black Widow gonna kill? Not directly, but is this the beginning of the end of cinema? Chat, because they've dropped Black Widow almost just a week after it dropped on cinema. Now, that's going to kill cinema take-ins. Disney paving the way for just removing the cinema as an option, because it seems like a slightly strange decision for me. Dropping Black Widow on streaming when it's still playing in the cinemas. Now, I know COVID has played a part in this, but it just seems an odd decision. But Disney clearly think that money in the future is going to be made through streaming, and I can only assume that the only reason that they've made the decision. Black Widow should have been ages ago. Well, I mean, with Black Widow, is Scarlett Johansson meant to be playing Black Widow before the events of Iron Man 2? Because she's now like 12 years older than from that she was in that film, so surely she's going to be clearly older looking. Now, I know she still looks bloody good looking, like, you know, stunning, but isn't it going to be clearly obvious that she's clearly older than what she was in the events of Iron Man 2? But this is meant to be set before Iron Man 2 because she's dead now. So it's a prequel, yeah, it's a prequel. So it's a prequel to Iron Man 2, though. Is this set before Iron Man 2? What time period is this film set? That's what I'm confused about, because you know, this is made in 2020, 2019, and she's obviously like now getting to her mid-30s. Iron Man 2 was made in 2010, so she should have been like in her mid-20s. So I don't really understand how they're working this. But in terms of Emily Blunt was Marvel's first choice for Black Widow, she's got a similar look to Scarlett Johansson, you know, and they are, I think Emily Blunt's a few years older, but yeah, she would have been, they would have been a good choice. I guess it was kind of a touching movie now. That's okay. Well, I understand, Jamie, but So the way I understand it is Black Widow has gone to streaming, but you pay for the privilege of watching it in your own home. But at what point will it become free to watch on Disney Plus? Because obviously, at the minute, I would rather pay to go and watch it on the cinema rather than watch it on just, a TV in my living room. I'm not going to pay for that if it's on the cinema. But within 2 to 3 months, Disney will be showing a film for free. Well, not free. It's if you subscribe to Disney Plus, you'll be able to watch that film as many times as you want. So, is this going to impact cinema? Because looking at what Netflix are doing now, and looking at the way Disney is starting to work, they are really starting to really push the boundaries of what's possible. I mean, Netflix, going on to a subject I was also going to bring up tonight was Fear Street on Netflix. So Netflix they've made 3 horror movies back to back, all in one go, and they're dropping in quick succession, 1 week at a time. So Fear Street 94, Fear Street 78, and Fear Street 1666. Now, I've seen the first film. It's a pretty decent film. It's not amazing, but it's good enough. Tonight or yesterday they dropped part 2, which is set in 1978, which is set on a campsite, which obviously I'm well on board for. I watched the first half an hour. It's okay. It's I'm not blown away yet, and then they'll drop part 3 next week, which is set in 1666. Now Netflix are in a position now where they're making so much money that they can pump out 3 slasher films back to back in 3 consecutive weeks, all with the same story arc, all connected. And you do wonder if the likes of Netflix are going to pump out that sort of content. It's not the best content in the world, but it's good enough, and that's the important point. It's good enough. If it's good enough to keep people on the backsides watching their stuff rather than going into the cinema, then that could be the death knell for cinemas. And if Netflix are doing it, if Disney Plus are going to do it, if Amazon Prime are going to do it, and if Apple, if they jump on, well, they already are on board, but I really don't know what they're doing. If they're all on board doing this, then I do see an issue coinciding with COVID, because the COVID combining with the streaming, it's been a godsend for the streaming services and for anyone online. You look at the world's richest people. The world's richest people have just gotten so much richer over the last 12 months. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, people like that. They've doubled their money because people aren't going out anywhere. Now, is the damage to cinema permanent, or is it just temporary? It remains to be seen, but I think a lot of it depends on just the content that these streaming services do put out in the next 12 months. I do think that the cinemas need, and which I don't think they're going to get anytime soon, the cinemas need an Endgame, they need an Infinity War, they need an Avatar. And if they don't get that, then it's going to be a real struggle for them, because you need those massive numbers coming through the doors, because most movies, they're not doing massive numbers at the cinema. Most films, when I go and see a movie, I go and see third, fourth day, the cinema's half empty. When I went to see Endgame, the first week, I turned up, no room. I had to rebook and go the following 7 days later, because the hype was ridiculous, and you very, very rarely see that. So cinemas need these. The cinemas genuinely are going to start needing these massive movies. At the same time, I think these massive movies do need the cinemas, though. I do think that they need, I think Endgame would lack something if it wasn't on cinema. Avatar would have lacked something if it wasn't on cinema. They would have lacked that sort of extra sort of kudos of being, you know, on the big screen with that $1 billion taken. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. The next couple of years are going to be very, very interesting. I think a lot of it depends on the content that Netflix and Disney and Amazon put out. But with the money they've got, I mean, my God, it's scary how much money they've got and what they can do with it. But it's whether they do anything with the money or whether they just pump out crap. Because if you're already subscribed to Netflix or you're already subscribed to Amazon or Disney Plus, if you're content with what they're putting out, are they going to lower their standards? Whereas when you're putting something on the cinema, you've got to physically drag yourself to the cinema to go and see it. Whereas someone streaming on your TV at home, you don't have to get off your backside and watch it. So maybe standards will drop slightly if you just, well, I'll just sit there and watch it. But yeah, I mean, that's the way it's going at the minute. And I've missed the chat again. People are still afraid to go to the cinemas. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that depends where you are. I mean, I suppose older people maybe. I mean, I'm just ready to go back. I want to go back to cinema. I don't care. It often replaces, you know, the cinema for me. Not beats that excitement, but I think that a lot of people would just be. I think like the newer generation, you know, who's like the mobile phone obsessed, 20-somethings, Gen Z, are probably just not even that bothered. Scroll down slightly. Not to miss if Statham keeps his game, people won't show up. Well, yeah, but I'm sure they'll be desperate to keep the job though, so I suppose they will. Nice and clean, as better food than before, and seems to be involved. The thing about cinemas as well is like, when have you ever been to cinema and it's been that full that you couldn't social distance? Because 9 times out of 10, whenever I go and see a film, I'm never closer than 2 meters to any one person, apart from when I'm in the queue to buy the ticket. Once I get by the ticket and I'm through the doors, like me and my son, whoever, or my partner, we never go within 2 meters of anyone in the cinema anyway, because it's usually half empty. So the seat we choose is nowhere near anyone anyway. I hear you. I actually don't think that'll be like if they've left it too long. Sure, I think it's been left too long. I think the Avatar sequels now. It's 2011 was Avatar. We're talking 10 years. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. You can't leave a gap of 10 years for a big budget film like that. I think the people that are on board at the time, they've grown up or they've got new lives, married, kids. Whoever was watching Avatar back in 2011, a lot of those people have moved on with their lives and they haven't got time to be going to the cinema to watch Avatar 2, 3, and 4. James Cameron made a big mistake, I think. I could be proven wrong, but I'm quite confident that Avatar 2 will not tank, but I don't think it will do half a billion, sorry. I don't think it will do $500 million or £500 million at the box office. And considering the first one did 2 billion, I think that's quite some. It's a controversial statement, but I honestly believe that. When my cinema was, it was really empty for, but yeah, it's. I mean, maybe it's a UK thing, but you know, when I go to cinema, maybe same as you, DJ, it's very rarely it's very, 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 very never full. The only time it's ever been full, as I say, was for like Endgame, Infinity War, and maybe, you know, obviously Star Wars films. That's it. And I'm going to see these films, you know, 3 or 4 days after opening, and by that point they're already a quarter full. So I was some good for you, Sean. but I will see it in the cinema. But whenever that comes out, God only knows when that film's going to come out. It was meant to come out last year, I think. What else we can sort of Fear Street. Okay, on to Fear Street. So if nobody's seen Fear Street, I'm just going to be waffling now. So hopefully some of you guys are seeing Fear Street on Netflix. Hopefully you have. So Sean, DJ, Jamie, have you seen Fear Street? Because I saw the first film last week and I've just seen the first half an hour of the second film, and I'm kind of disappointed up to this point. Maybe nobody's seen it. Okay. My chat, sorry, the chat is going ahead of me, and I'm so far. It's my chat is lagging. I'm sorry. So you are hopefully we pick up on data. We'll see the cinemas about first opening. He's talking for Inland Empire 2. Yep, Jamie. American Gangs Netflix. Sorry. I live in a small town. Our cinemas are never full unless it's a major movie. Spoil it away, Mike. Okay. I've not seen Fear Street. The main problem with the streaming services is that the movies are eventually moved from the library. You can have exactly. Well, yeah. Unless it's obviously owned by the company. So Netflix will never remove Stranger Things, and Amazon will never remove, anything they've got. But I see your point. But I think they're trying to move away from that. I think a lot of these streaming services now are trying to hold on to what they've got. And I think they're trying to build such a library now, whereas that it doesn't even matter anymore. They don't even need to buy anything up. They can just make their own stuff, which is bad in a way, because it means that a lot of stuff they have on Netflix and Amazon, they'll just discard them and just have, we've got our own stuff, we don't need that now. So we probably need an alternative streaming service for all this obscure stuff. Not seeing you. Okay, so spoil it away, Mike. So Fear Street is a new Netflix film trilogy, which feels like a TV show. Episode 1. I say episode 1. Each films. They're all about 1 hour 50, so they're pretty long in their own right. Episode 1 set in 1994. Episode 2 in 1978, and episode 3, which I think is going to drop next week, is 1666. About a cursed town called Shadyside, and an opposing town called, is it Sunnyvale? I forget. It all feels very, I've said this on Twitter, it feels like very Riverdale, the TV show. And basically Netflix have gone with this idea of, a running storyline through 3 generations of this town from its inception, which is obviously, I'm assuming, 1666. The second episode is 78, and the final episode, which is actually the first episode, is 94. So it's going back in time, but it's also going to jump forward, because in the 78 episode, which is aired today or yesterday, at the beginning you see a couple of the characters from the 1994 episode. How they're going to tie in the 1666 into modern day, I don't know, because it's so far removed. It's an interesting thing what they've done. It's quite an exciting idea, especially the fact that what they've done with the 1978 episode is set at a campsite, and it's very much inspired by Friday the 13th. But it all feels a little bit contrived. It feels a bit too try hard. I mean, I wasn't that impressed with the 1994 episode from last week, the first movie. It all felt a bit, it certainly didn't feel like 1994. It felt like modern day. I mean, if this was meant to be set in 1984, apart from dropping a few, songs from that period, this felt like 2021, apart from the lack of cell phones. But it's not bad, but I'm more interested in what Netflix are doing. I think it's more exciting what they're trying to do. It's the fact that they're going to put out, 3 full-length movies back to back on a week-to-week basis on a subject that we love, in this community, like slasher films. Even though it has, for me, it hasn't really hit the spot. I think it's a really, really good thing. You know what I mean? It's like, what else were they capable of? If they can just put out, especially we've had COVID for the past 12 months, 18 months. Netflix, with their money, somehow they've managed to just churn out 3 feature-length films and put them out back to back on a week-to-week basis. Regardless of the quality, and it's not bad, it's pretty decent. I'm just saying it's not like quite the level I was expecting. But I'm going back to the way I'm talking about with the quality of the streaming services now. Where does this leave the cinema? People like us who love horror, love slasher. Why are we going to bother to get ourselves off the sofa and get ourselves to the cinema if Netflix are going to be putting out, well, I've got a slasher film this week, I've got a slasher film next week, and I've got a slasher film the week after, and it's all part of the same universe. It's going to feature, people getting sliced and diced. It's going to feature campsites. It's going to feature, great films. Again, great music. It's like, where's my incentive to just make my way to the cinema? I do fear for the cinema, but at the same time, it's like, is this ultimately where it's going to go? And is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? I don't think it's a good thing, and I really don't think it's a good thing in the long run, but it's going to be good for us as consumers, because at the end of the day, we want to see more and more movies of a good standard where we don't have to pay out, ridiculous fees to go and see them. Because I don't want to pay. I'm sick of paying, £30 to go and see a film. Film, me, son, popcorn, cans of, bottles of Coke. It costs an absolute fortune. So, at the end of the day, they're going to have to counter this, and it's going to come to a head sooner rather than later. And I think with COVID, it's just move things that it's like if streaming service was, if this was streaming services, streaming services, cinemas, they're coming together. There's going to be an explosion, and there's not going to be one winner. There's going to be one winner and one poor loser, and the poor loser is not going to be Netflix or Disney. It's going to be the cinemas. So it is what it is. But it's not looking good for cinemas. It really isn't. And I think that's, well, yeah. So go back to the chat. The movies are limited. Yeah, I think I've mentioned that, haven't I? Maybe we shouldn't put cinema streaming in the same category. We are what we manifest. I hear you, Jamie. I mean, they are 2 separate things. I don't even like streaming. I don't like the hassle. I don't like the fact you're relying on a good internet service, because my internet completely dropped out for 24 hours last week, and I couldn't access anything apart from like my crappy phone signal, and I can't do anything with that. And I couldn't do anything with it. And I thought, well, I'm not going to go. If I do want to watch a film, I'm going to have to go in my loft and dig a film out. And it's just a film I've already seen like 1,000 times before. So they are totally reliant. And if the signal drops, and you've got this, and I'm going to go into the obvious issue with streaming now, is if you stream everything, you don't own it, and that's just a fact. Maybe if you download it, you own it. I'm not quite sure how it works, but if you just stream stuff, like Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, they can remove that anytime they want. And if it's not deemed politically correct, they can take that away from you. And I was pointing to the examples of things like The Simpsons, I think it's the Michael Jackson episode, maybe the Apu stuff. I'm not quite sure how it works with the Apu stuff now on The Simpsons. Is he even in? Does it even show episodes of Apu in? Because of political correctness now. Obviously, he was in like countless episodes. So, yeah, make sure you keep all of those physical discs because they'll be coming after them. But yeah, I mean that's the main issue with streaming. It is censorship, and it's going to be insane in a few years to come. Absolutely insane. The censorship is just going to go crazy. Well, it would. Yeah, no more in the back seat, putting your arm around a girl or a boy, you know, having a kiss and a cuddle. That's the way it is. But I think I've run out of subjects to talk about tonight, guys. Jamie, I know you're still in the chat, and Sean, I think I'm just going to wrap things up now because I've been going for nearly an hour and I need to go to bed. But I do like these Friday night chats, so I'm going to do them every Friday night now from midnight till 1, obviously 7 till 8 Eastern Standard Time, along with obviously going to keep on doing the live stream commentaries on a Tuesday night. That's going to be midnight UK time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next Tuesday is going to be Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. But thank you guys for joining the chat. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, DJ. And thank you, Ben. And I think there was somebody else there. Jess, and Jess as well, of course. Couldn't forget Jess. And Jeff as well. So anyway, thank you guys. I will see you on Tuesday if I don't see you in the stream before that. See you later.